be talking about is how to transform your body and saying goodbye to that menopausal belly fat. Okay, so how many of you are confused or frustrated that no matter what you do, you keep gaining weight during perimenopause and menopause? Just drop a me in the comment section if that's you. And if this is something that you've really noticed has really changed for you over, over the past several years, maybe, or ever since that you've been going through perimenopause. So you are not alone. And if you're going through this stage of your life, you may be finding that you are gaining weight in your belly, which is also known as that menopausal belly. Okay. And I just want to talk about actually the phases of menopause. So we have pre-menopause, which is basically the time of period from when you get your period and until we start hitting perimenopause. So there's premenopause, which is from when you get your period up until like those reproductive years, up until you go into perimenopause. And perimenopause is a period of time between 7 to 10 years before you actually hit menopause. Menopause is the day that it is signified by 365 days without a period. Now, if you're a woman that's had a hysterectomy and you have functioning ovaries, you can get tested for this through your doctor to see if you are in menopause or not. But for those that are still menstruating, it's that the day that you hit 365 days with no period, that is signified as menopause. Everything after that is considered postmenopause. So women can experience these symptoms in perimenopause or postmenopause. So some women will experience symptoms that 7 to 10 years before they hit that 1 year mark without a period. And some women experience these symptoms postmenopause. Now, some of these symptoms include things like brain fog, fatigue, joint pain, anxiety, depression. And then a big one that we see is like this accumulation of belly fat within the belly fat area. And so just about every woman in menopause or approaching menopause can attest to the fact that there are changes to their body fat distribution that happen or occur during this time. So what should we do about it? Most women intensify their workouts and go on extreme diets to only find that approach is not working. And I want to explain to you why that approach is no longer working. So let's talk about what's going on hormonally. So estrogen and progesterone production decline with menopause, and their relative imbalance compared to cortisol, it further exacerbates insulin resistance, okay? So both estrogen and progesterone help us deal with stress, and they both help us because they also help us deal with insulin. Now, when we lose these things, we become more insulin resistant. These hormones also shift. The hormone shift combined with a decrease in energy expenditure can cause that weight gain. And the other thing that we see also with the decrease of estrogen and progesterone is that we start craving more food. The most common struggle women have during this transition is almost an immediate large gain in fat and decrease in muscle mass. And this affects their self-confidence, emotional well-being, and the overall quality of life. And I heard many women give up by saying, I'm just old, and this is how my body will look from now on. And there's no point in trying. But the reality couldn't be farther from the truth. You can see that this is what we help women with. And all of the transformations, we've helped hundreds of women transform their body by using our Frenza Fit Hourglass body methodology. And it's possible at any age. We have clients that are in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, okay? So once you understand these changes that happen as hormonal shifts occur, you can create a plan that allows you to win any hormonal situation. Perimenopause is the time to really dial in your mental framework. We want to optimize protein intake. while moderating carbohydrate consumption and also really focusing on strength training and managing stress. Taking these steps will set you up for strong, healthy metabolic baseline. So strong, healthy metabolic health of lean muscle that will help you get through this transition. So why are we gaining the belly fat? Menopause brings about a rapid decline in estrogen, which leads to more testosterone dominance. And it's not that we are producing more testosterone that gets produced at this time, but rather that the decrease in estrogen provides less of a counterforce against the androgen effects of testosterone. So while estrogen distributes weight to women's hips and butt, so women that are primarily, like if we look at a younger woman that's not going through perimenopause and menopause, the women that have more, that are more hippie and that carry a lot of their weight or their fat within their butt area and hip area, these women tend to be more estrogen dominant because that's what estrogen tends to do. I know myself personally, I'm not I wasn't estrogen dominant because I carried a lot of my belly fat, like my fat within the midsection. Okay. And so the same thing tends to happen when we go through perimenopause and menopause. While estrogen distributes the fat within those area, the transition expressed itself with a sudden decrease in muscle mass and bone density. Okay, so this is why the testosterone encourages fat distribution around the midsection. So research also suggests that estrogen in women impacts both function of hypertrophy. So that is the ability for your body to increase muscle mass. As estrogen levels drop, the muscle organ system that had previously been supported by youthful estrogen levels begin to decline because estrogen offers critical support for tendon and ligaments, and menopausal decline increases the risk of injury and joint pain. The other thing that a lot of women experience, actually, how many of you guys are experiencing this right now, where you're finding that you are experiencing more joint pain in your body? And this is because of the decline of estrogen that is happening during perimenopause and menopause. So I see a lot of women struggle with the effects of the exaggerated erratic food intake. You know, they're having maybe just fruit for lunch, they're skipping breakfast, they have like maybe a small chicken breast and salad or a mocha latte for dinner combined with their standard of like Zumba, Pilates, or like boot camp classes. This is not strong medicine we need to fortify menopausal women in their future. Instead, we want a muscle-focused lifestyle involving higher protein diet designed around balancing macros. So that is your macronutrients, carbs, proteins, and fats, and a calorie budget combined with, resistance training with progressive overload that will turn that protein into muscle, can really keep you strong and healthy and energized throughout menopause. Okay. So when we lose progesterone and estrogen during this time of our lives, our ability to deal with stress diminishes because both of these hormones help a woman deal with stress. How many of you have found that during perimenopause and menopause, you're like maybe more anxious, like maybe the things that you used to be able to handle, you can't handle anymore? Pop a comment in the me section if you are noticing that. The other thing, yeah, okay, so me, a lot of you have said me. This is a common thing that happens. Women can experience anxiety, depression, and it's because of the loss of progesterone and estrogen that's happening during this time period. Now, you want to always go consult with a doctor. There could be other things going on, but it is a very common symptom that women have. Studies have indicated that women who experience stress and respond negatively to it during perimenopause and menopause are more likely to gain that belly fat regardless of their body type. So we have two things going on here. We have the reduction of estrogen, which makes testosterone more dominant, which makes you, carry that belly fat, that fat more within the midsection. And then the other thing that is happening is that we become less like we can't deal with stress the way that we did before. And a lot of our cortisol receptors are in our belly area. And so even if you're a lean woman, but if you are under a lot of stress, you may notice an increase in belly fat due to this reduced stress resilience. This increase in belly fat is linked to hormonal changes induced by stress. So these hormonal shifts can increase cravings for salty, sugary, fatty, high caloric foods due to stress hormones, which increase your caloric intake, which in turn drives the accumulation of belly fat. How many of you have noticed that your cravings have also increased? Pop up me in the comment section. This is one of the reasons why we are focusing on protein during this challenge, is because we know, and I'll talk a little bit more about that, is because protein helps regulate blood sugar levels and keeps you full and satiated. Another really big reason why we want a higher protein diet. Now, when it comes to our metabolism, when it comes to our metabolisms that determine whether we lose body fat or not, it's just not about calories and hormones, but it's also fundamentally about how we manage stress. It acts like a stress sensing and responding mechanism. This is how our metabolisms work. Okay, so it's not so much necessarily about calories in and calories out. We also have to be looking at the amount of stress that is on us. So our body signals when it's under stress through our biofeedback markers. So if sleep is disrupted, if we're constantly hungry, our mood is dysregulated, we have constant mood swings, energy cravings, digestion, exercise performance, and exercise recovery. All of these help to monitor if your metabolism is managing stress adequately. So when these things are out of check, we know that your metabolism is not managing stress adequately. When your biofeedback markers are good, it indicates that your metabolism is likely handling stress well, and it is able to release body fat more easily. However, deviations in these areas signal a need for intervention to regain balance. So how do you regain balance? We must adopt more of a nurturing approach, recognizing the importance of rest, recovery, and recharging. Okay? Walking is one of the greatest tools for managing stress, particularly slow, leisurely walking. We don't want to be doing like fast-paced walks all the time. We want to do slow, leisurely walking, because walking can significantly lower cortisol levels. So activities like running, HIIT, boot camp classes, or any high-intensity workouts can elevate those cortisol levels and might overtax your system for some women and causing more stress to their metabolism. So incorporating relaxing activities such as hot baths, meditation, journaling, and self-massage like foam rolling can also help alleviate stress. So right now, I want you guys to think of what are okay, so first of all, how many of you right now are incorporating stress reducing activities into your weekly schedule? Comment me in the comment section if you're currently doing this right now. Let's see, how many of you are currently incorporating stress reducing activities? Okay, Carrie says protein helps me control my choices. Me, okay. For those of you that are doing stress reducing activities, can you share with us what those things are? Like, share with us what you're actually doing to reduce the stress. That would be very helpful.
Oh, okay.
What are some of the things that you're currently doing? Walking. Okay, awesome. Oh, you know what I forgot to do is I forgot to hit record. That's okay. We're going live. I'll be able to download that afterwards. Okay, let's see. What are some things that you guys are doing? I'm just going to look here. Walking, deep breathing, walking, reading. Amazing. Amazing. What do we got? Walking, stretching, meditation, yoga, swimming laps, cold plunge. Awesome. Meditation, walking, stretching, walking, massage, hot tub. Amazing. Awesome. Good. So we want more activities that are actually lowering our stress levels. Okay. So doing things like high intensity workouts and things like that, that is not going to help us. We want to be that. And well, that is why walking is one of the best things that you can be doing. Another great tool is to manage light exposure. So maximizing natural light in the morning and minimizing artificial light at night can really support our natural circadian rhythms and also improve sleep. So some of the things that we want to be doing is really fine tuning for women around perimenopause and menopause because of what's going on with estrogen. How many women still, like there's so many women out there that still subscribe to the whole bank account model of dieting. So what do I mean by that? They just keep trying to do more and more. And now it's not just about deprivation dieting or keto dieting. They're doing HIIT, boot camp, plus keto, intermittent fasting. And I see a lot of women going down this path and they're just like so frustrated because they're like, I'm doing all of these things, but things are not working. They actually completely go downhill from there. And we have to understand that the metabolism acts as a stress barometer. When you stress it out too much, it is going to push it back against you. The metabolism is most likely like a boomerang, a seesaw, or a pendulum. It basically pushes back against you when you stress it out too much. And there's a reason why your habit of like eating chips at night might be related to your habit of over exercising or over dieting the day before or throughout the day. It's very stressful to your body. And so people don't often connect these two things. And when you push against the metabolism, it will push back against you. And as a woman, we're extra sensitive to that during perimenopause. So the metabolic credit card effect is well known, like a credit card. When you can get what you want right now, but you have to pay the penalties later on. So therefore, you have to be very careful at this time to keep stress off of the system. So we recommend our female clients, especially around the age of perimenopause or menopause, if we're noticing that they're experiencing a lot of symptoms, maybe their biofeedback markers are not in check, that we spend a lot of time recovering, okay? So let's talk about, how we talked about some stress relieving activities, and some of the things that you can be doing is breathing, mindfulness, like meditation, daily calming activities. So find 5 to 10 minutes each day to engage in relaxing activities that you enjoy. This will activate the parasympathetic nervous system, which can help you switch out of stress mode and into a calming rest and digest mode where your body can tackle the recovery and maintenance activities required to keep you healthy, okay? So those are some things that you can be doing daily. The next thing that you could be doing to help with reducing overall stress, which in turn is going to help with, saying goodbye to that menopausal belly fat, is improving with your sleep, okay? We know that 100% of our hormone regulation happens when you sleep. And this is normally in the first 2 sleep cycles, primarily, as this is happening during your deep sleep. So your regulation of appetite balance, and all of your anabolics, catabolics, your immune system, everything like that is happening when we're sleeping. So if the only time you're getting better at anything is while you're sleeping, and that's when we're improving. And the whole reason to repair for today and prepare for tomorrow is happening when we're sleeping. So I know that when we are sleeping, during the day, we are exhausting resources and we're damaging itself. And so we need to fix that damage and replenish those resources when we're sleeping. But as women that are going through perimenopause and menopause, we know that this is one of the most difficult things that starts to happen. However, there are things that we can naturally put in place to help improve quality sleep. So some of the things that we could do is no caffeine past 12, no alcohol, if you are having a difficulty sleeping, I would recommend that you remove alcohol, okay? Until you get your sleep back into control. Most of the times we notice that women that are consuming alcohol, they have a horrible sleep, okay? So if you can reduce or eliminate alcohol, this is something that you should do to try and get your sleep under control. You can use a blackout room. You can use a sleep mask. The other things that we want to be doing is setting an alarm to prepare your body to go to bed. So give yourself 1 hour to get ready for bed. So like no electronics, no TV. Even a few hours before you get to bed, a good thing that you can do is blue blocker light, like glasses, to eliminate the blue light that you're absorbing. No workout, no work projects, no working out. We want to really start engaging in activities that calm the sympathetic nervous system. One of the other things that you could do is have a bedtime snack that involves a carbohydrate and protein. This will help you, like you can have this bedtime snack an hour to an hour and a half before you go to bed, because carbs can be used to reduce cortisol. So if you're having a hard time falling asleep or staying asleep, a bedtime snack can really help with that. And really the goal is to stay in bed for 8 hours. Okay, so if you're having a hard time falling asleep, even if you get up in the middle of the night, when you do come back, if you're having a hard time falling asleep, you could do things like meditation, prayer, breath work, guided meditation, and really just try and relax so that your body can try and fall asleep. Okay. Now, the other thing that we really need to focus on to help with that menopausal belly is really focusing on building lean muscle. And the only way that we can do this, ladies, is through strength training with progressive overload training. So building, I did like a lot of us in here are Gen X, okay, population. The old way of doing things was like this: doing a bunch of cardio, restricting our calories. Maybe we're doing slim fast shakes. Like, how many of you have done this before? So we do like restricting calories, even intermittent fasting, where you're trying to restrict the period of time that you're eating, doing a bunch of cardio. A lot of women are still doing this old way of doing things. But the thing is that all of these ways of doing things was focused on you losing muscle mass. And when we lose muscle mass, what we're doing is we're creating metabolic damage. The more muscle we have on our body, the more calories our body burns at rest. This is how we can have a healthy metabolism, is by ensuring that we have muscle. So muscle strength training is the key to helping you build muscle. It's one of the keys to helping you build muscle. And when we're doing the strength training, it's not just for helping you improve your body composition. There are studies that are showing that strength training and building lean muscle on your body can help reduce the risk of Alzheimer's and dementia. And it also is linked to helping you stay mobile and healthy as we age. So strength training is not only going to help you improve your overall body composition. So as you lose body weight, or as you lose weight, we really want to ensure that we are not losing muscle mass. And the only way that we're going to do that is through strength training. And when I talk about strength training, I'm not talking about lifting 2 and 3 pound or 5 pound weights. We need to be lifting heavier weights. And we do this through progressive overload training. And so that we continuously are stimulating the body to lift heavy, to build muscle mass, okay? And that can only happen with progressive overload strength training, meaning that you do the set program for at least 6 to 8 weeks at one time, and you are repeating this program. You're not switching it up every single day. We're not doing random YouTube video workouts, or, even if you think you're doing a class that has weights in it, like body pump or Orange Theory, that is not proper strength training. That is still considered to be aerobic, cardiovascular, because you're not able to lift with intent. Okay. The other thing that, building and strength training does is it reduces the risk of osteoporosis. It improves your mood, and that it can also help reduce hot flashes as well too, and the intensity of hot flashes. Okay. So we want to be focusing on strength training, and we don't want to be focusing on HIIT style or cardio workouts, because again, both of these things can increase those cortisol levels. And also, there's a lot of risk of injury. As we lose that estrogen, we are more prone to injury and joint pain. Okay. So we covered reducing stress. We covered getting more sleep. The other thing is strength training with progressive overload training. And the third thing that we want to be doing is eating enough protein, which is what we're focusing on right now in this challenge right now. Protein is an essential macronutrient that helps your body build and repair tissue. So you can go and strength train all you want. If you are not consuming enough protein in your diet, you will not preserve and build lean muscle mass, which is like kind of the opposite of what we want if we're going to be strength training. So on average, we want to be consuming about 1 gram of protein per 1 pound of body weight, or ideal body weight. So in the challenge, we're aiming for about 90 grams of protein, which is still not enough. So like, for example, if you are 140 pounds and your goal weight is 130, then you should be consuming about 130 grams of protein. If you're if you're at 180 pounds and your goal weight is 150, you should be consuming about 150 grams of protein. But this week it will be your building blocks to slowly getting you up there. So how do you get enough protein in your diet? Well, you got to plan for it. And this is what we talked about. Like, if you're part of the challenge, I've given you several resources to help you plan for it, but you got to plan for it. So if you are a woman that needs 150 grams of protein, then you have to spread that between 4 meals: breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and a snack. So that means you're going to be getting about 37 grams of protein per meal to help you reach that protein goal. So there are a few reasons why protein is so important, especially when it comes to fat loss. So it'll help you build muscle. And we know that the more muscle you have on your body, the more improved your metabolism becomes. Okay. You will get a more robust metabolism with more muscle on your body. One of the main reasons why we decline in metabolic health is because of the loss of muscle mass. So during perimenopause and menopause, because we're losing estrogen, we are more likely to lose muscle mass. And then if we have not been consistently strength training and eating protein, we're also losing muscle mass. The other thing that protein does for us is it increases our feeling satiated. Okay. Protein-rich foods are more satiating than carbohydrates or fats. Like, go and test it out yourself. Have a meal with no protein in it and tell me how quickly you become hungry afterwards. Probably within an hour, you're like, man, I don't feel very satisfied. I can go for some more food. And this is how we start getting into that routine of like, okay, I'm going to snack on this, or I'm going to snack on that. And then we start adding up those calories throughout the day, which may accumulate that belly fat as well too. So eating the protein will keep you full. And how many of you guys so far, with 1 day of increasing your protein intake, have noticed that you actually feel fuller and you have less cravings and hunger? Comment me if that's something you've already noticed. Comment me if you've already noticed that in 1 day of increasing your protein intake, you are less hungry, less cravings, and you feel more full. Awesome. Amazing. So this is like, we can already see that. If we know that the decline of estrogen and progesterone is going to make us more, cravings for food and increase the craving and hunger, then the protein is going to help with that, which will help us reduce the overall amount of calories that we're consuming, or helping you stick to a calorie deficit. If your goal is fat loss, this can really help with that. Okay. The other thing that protein does is it helps you, it's the building blocks to helping you build muscle. So if anything, it'll help you not only build muscle, but it'll also help you preserve muscle mass. And the other thing that protein does is because you are building and preserving lean muscle mass, it helps you with your overall body composition. What do I mean by body composition? So a lot of times, like even with my own journey, even though I lost weight, the first time I lost like a lot of weight, I actually looked skinny fat, meaning from the outside I looked thin, but from the inside I was a lot of body fat. And that is because the way that I took to losing weight was just a calorie deficit. It was just basically I slashed my calories, and I had no mindfulness of like, am I getting enough protein? I didn't even know about this at the time, and I wasn't strength training. So out of the weight that I lost, probably like 40% of that was muscle mass. So let's see, out of the 30 pounds that I lost, 12 pounds of that was muscle mass. So you know how I ended up looking? I had skinny arms, skinny legs, and a lot of belly fat. My body composition was actually worse because I had lost so much muscle mass. So by eating enough protein, we can at least, if we're not like, we want to be strength training, ladies, like this is like, should be a non-negotiable that we're strength training, especially over the age of 40, not only for the body composition and looking good, all of the other benefits that comes with it as well too. But even if at the minimum, we're getting enough protein in our diet, we are going to ensure that at least we're not losing that muscle mass. Okay. How we help our clients, like for our clients that work with us one-on-one in our one-on-one coaching program, what we do first is the first phase of our program is called our metabolic restoration phase. So this initial phase in our program is about priming your metabolism. It's about restoring your metabolism. So we look at improving your metabolic health. We know that 94% of the population has metabolic dysfunction. Okay. If you have a waist circumference larger than 35, you definitely have metabolic dysfunction. Okay. This can be a precursor to things like type 2 diabetes. So we want to first address the metabolism. Remember, we talked about earlier that the metabolism is like a stress barometer. So if your metabolism is super stressed out, which we can know by the symptoms that you're feeling, like if you're not sleeping well, you have low energy levels, constantly tired, maybe you have digestion issues, maybe you feel very weak in your workouts and things like that. This is all an indication that metabolically you are not well and your metabolism is stressed out. So we have to remove that stress and we have to improve your metabolism before your body is going to respond to fat loss. We have to nurture and restore your metabolic health first, okay? And we do this in several ways. We do this through strength training. We do by having like a customized strength training program for our clients. We do this by having a customized nutrition protocol for our clients. And we also do this through lifestyle habits like managing sleep and stress. So once we've made sure that the foundation is really solid and we know 100% that our body, our biofeedback markers have improved, our body is going to be much more responsive to fat loss. And this is where a lot of times, women are like, I don't understand what's going on. Well, you're pushing against your metabolism. You're not fixing that first. You're not restoring your metabolic health first. If you're not fixing the root cause, like your metabolism, which decides whether you're going to lose and gain weight, then like fat loss is going to be very, very difficult. So that is why we start with that first. Then once we've done that and we've spent the time restoring your metabolic health and also optimize your hormonal health in terms of how we're supporting your hormones, then your body will be able to let go and shed that body fat. Okay, and our second phase is called our lean out phase of our program. And so this is where we help you lose body fat, but this is also where we help you build that hourglass body so that our clients don't look like skinny fat or like a melted candle at the end of it. They look fit, toned, defined, and they have that hourglass physique. And I talk about the hourglass body because the hourglass body, the rounded shoulders, the V-taper back, the smaller waistline, the, you know, the rounded glutes, the really strong looking toned legs. This signifies strong metabolic and strong hormonal health. So this is why we want to go for that hourglass figure. So as you lose body fat, we're making sure that we're building up muscle to help you shape your physique, okay? And then once our clients have reached their goal, you know, whether their goal is like they want to get into a certain size or they feel comfortable in terms of where they're at, then we teach them how to live in maintenance calories. This is where we boost their metabolism back up again. This is where we teach them how to maintain their results. This is where we teach them how to have a balanced lifestyle so that they know how to partake in social events, date nights, vacations without jeopardizing their progress. And this is also where we start teaching our clients intuitive eating, and we start really putting up, compiling the plan for them on how they can sustain and maintain their results forever, so that, you know, they're not, you know, getting to a point like, how many of you guys have done a diet and gained the weight back afterwards? Okay, this is like, you know, if you're going to put into all of that effort into changing your physique and losing weight and, you know, just becoming a healthier person, we want to make sure that it fits in with your lifestyle so that you basically know how to sustain your results forever. Okay, so I will open it up to some questions right now for those of you that are in the challenge. If you're joining me live right now in Zoom, you can unmute yourself and ask me a question. For those of you that are joining me live here on Facebook, do you guys have any questions about any of this that we're doing, that I've talked about today, in terms of like the 4 key strategies to helping reduce that overall menopausal belly fat? Okay, so one thing that I want to ask you is, what is the one thing that you're going to do today? Like, what is the one thing that you are going to implement either today or this week from what I've taught you during this training today? Pop it in the comment section. I want to know what the main thing is that you're going to start doing or implementing today that you learned. What is one thing that you'll start doing this week? Okay. So Carrie asked, is calorie important at this point, or is protein most important? This is a very good question. This week, what we're doing is trying to establish what your baseline is. So they're actually both important, but for the purpose of this challenge, and I went over this in the kickoff call yesterday, is that right now we just want to be going for that protein goal to really determine what your calories, your maintenance calories is right now. Now, when we are looking into going into a fat loss phase, meaning that your body is ready for fat loss, we did this metabolic restoration and your body's ready for fat loss, both matter. Okay, even when you're at maintenance calories, both matters. We want to make sure that, you know, we're hitting the right calorie goal, but we're also hitting your protein target as well too. So if you received my if you got my guide on mastering effective food tracking, in that guide, I tell you how to set your calories and also how to set your protein goal. So it's both of them. When it comes to fat loss, calories are king. And second, we got to make sure that we're hitting the protein goal so that when you're losing body fat, we have to make sure that we are protecting that muscle as much as possible. And we do that by eating enough protein and ensuring that you're strength training. Hopefully that answered your question, Carrie. Okay, the other thing, ladies, is that a lot of you have filled out the Frenza Fit assessment. If you haven't done that, please make sure you do that as soon as possible. I did send it out in the, I see that some of you have filled it out. You just need to book your call with me so that I can go over your results and I'll be able to really tell you, you know, what I think it is that's really holding you back, whether it's your metabolism, hormones, calories, and macros maybe need to be adjusted, or the type of workouts that you're doing. We want to make sure that you're filling that out so you get that from me, so you know exactly what to do moving forward, so you feel empowered in knowing what's going on. Okay, some other things here. Daily walks. Awesome, Paula. Water, water, water. Water is great. Trying to reach protein goals. Focus on better sleep. Amazing. Daily walks. I suck at getting more than a bottle in a day, but trying. So what I would recommend, Denise, is setting goals for yourself. Either filling up your bottles of water ahead of time and really just trying to set some goals for yourself in terms of drinking your water for the day. All right, I'm going to just check here on Zoom. When we cook your recipes, does each recipe have 25 to 30 grams of protein in it? If you are looking at my 14-day meal plan, it actually has the calories and macros on it. So all of those have 30 grams of protein in it or more. If you're looking at the recipes in my recipe book, you will have to enter that information in something like MyFitnessPal or Chronometer. It will depend, but a lot of them are high in protein. I haven't specified in my recipe book the calories and macros for each recipe. That is something that you'll have to monitor yourself. Now, if it is low in if it's lower and you want to increase your protein intake, you can just add a little bit more chicken or ground beef or whatever it is the protein source to up your protein intake. So if you're using my 14-day meal plan, yes, everything is a minimum of 30 grams of protein or more. I'm on 2 bottles today. Thank you. Awesome. All right, ladies, thank you so much. If you guys have any other questions, please go ahead and write that in the comment section right now. Thanks so much for joining me. Hopefully you guys are, I know you guys are doing amazing. Go crush day 2 of the challenge. Our next live training is going to be on Thursday at 12 p.m. and we'll talk about the live training on Thursday is about how to stay consistent no matter what. We'll be talking about ways to do that. But I just want to thank everyone for joining me here live today. And we will see you all on Thursday. Have a great day, everyone. Bye for now.